Hey everyone, Boozor here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're just going to talk about some substitutes for very, rare arena meta champions. So I realize that obviously not everyone has a super stacked roster with all the rare void legendaries. So I wanted to make a video that perhaps gives you some options and gives you guys some ideas on how you can make teams that will be successful whatever level of progression you're at. So let's hop into this. So for example, this is the team that I run just for regular Gold 5 farming. My Great Hall's done, so I don't really farm for medals anymore. I really just farm for Magi Steel. So I definitely do less than I did before, but basically it's just speed team into lockout and then ethos just nukes. Usually most teams aren't too difficult in Gold 5 for me. So I just want to go through like what we can do for you guys if you guys are obviously missing some of these champions. So obviously I'm going to expect like no one to have those two usually. So what if you have these two, and ethos could be anyone. So ethos could be what I used before ethos was actually skull crown. Skull crown and ethos are actually very comparable. Ethos is obviously a little bit stronger. He has higher base stats, higher base attack. But it took me a long time to move over to Ethos because I just didn't want to invest the legendary books because Skull Crown was doing perfectly fine for me. So a team like Arbiter, even if you don't have Arbiter, let's say you don't even have Arbiter. Let's say you can have any generic nuker. We use Skull Crown, one of the best epic nukers. If you guys have them and you guys don't have any legendary books or you guys don't have any good legendaries, then Skull Crown is excellent, excellent excellent nuker. If you guys don't have Arbiter, then it's going to be somebody like Deacon, right? The speed lead with a turn meter boost, and then he also doubles up as a defense down. So defense down helps if you don't have excellent gear. Therefore, you need some extra help for your nuker to actually kill the team, for example. That's just an example, right? So after this, you probably are looking for like some kind of like attack up champion. So it could be like somebody like Seeker. I did use Seeker for a long time before I got Arbiter. Another champion that kind of works is Gore-Grab. Gore-Grab is like a budget arbiter. So if you guys have Gore-Grab, like, and you guys don't even have Deacon, definitely Gore-Grab's gonna go in your team. If you guys have Seeker, Seeker will be right here. So it'll be Seeker or Gore-Grab, and then they'll just boost each other. Seeker's just really good because he brings the attack up and then the turn meter, the big turn meter boost. And then your last spot could be kind of like a flexible spot. It could be a defense down. Like in this case, it would be a defense down. So like example, just Ugo or something. So like this is a perfectly good farming speed team. That's all epics. So very viable. It's not going to be like obviously plat worthy, just because in platinum this kind of speed team just doesn't do very good, just because of Stone Skin and all these super strong champions, as well as reaction gear accessories, right? So you need different strategies. That's why something like the Warlord Lockout, let them run out their reaction accessories, makes sense. Things like strips nowadays, like for example, if you ran like a strip champion, so like Rian, for example, you risk the chance of getting debuffed by sheep. So nowadays, like in the highest arena, you don't really run like a debuffer. So it's like this, or like with another DPS, for example, like if you ran another DPS. So 2 DPS and then boost and a reviver, like at the highest levels. But in Gold 5, you're just gonna be farming for speed, like just speed farming teams. So like something like this is really fine, less than 10 seconds to win. So I wanted to like these could be like as long as you have the elements. So basically attack up. So something that boosts your nuker. It doesn't have to be attack based nuker. It can be HP or defense based, but generally attack is most common and easiest to increase damage from because attack up is easier to find than defense up, and there's no HP up. So attack based nuker, attack up, and then some kind of turn meter boost. Just because it's a speed team, you have to get your nuker a chance to take a turn. So it doesn't have to be like a turn meter boost. It could be like crowd control. So you could use somebody like provoke, AoE provoke. So you go boost and then AoE provoke drops, controls the enemy wave, and then you go defense down and then nuke them down. So that's kind of like super basic, right? This is a super basic team with obviously accessible champions, and it's based on your own progress, right? But these teams are like just super successful, and they're fast. Obviously, some of these champions require good gear. Of course, your nuker needs good gear, but the rest of your champions, like, they just kind of need to be fast, decent accuracy, and if you build them well for the arena, they work in dungeons too, so you technically can use your dungeon team or parts of your dungeon team in your arena as well. So you don't have to specifically build them just for arena at depending on your level of progression, right? So once you start transitioning to like mid, late, end game, the substitutions become less and less, right? So obviously you want now. I assume you have Arbiter. So once you have Arbiter, if you want to if you want to have the champion basically tuned with your Arbiter, you have to use Deadwood Jedi's arena speed tune calculator. So for example, if you have a Kymar, you're going to go boost right into Kymar. Kymar is going to place his AoE sleep and strip, which is basically like a kind of control, right? So you're controlling the other team. And then you can have a flex spot here. So your flex spot could be somebody like I don't know, Necrit that protects your nuker, or it could be a second nuker, like a slow nuker behind your AoE nuker, or it could be like a defense down, okay? Or another strip, or it could be a defense down or a strip. So this is kind of like a more like mid late game farming team, where basically you have more tools at your disposal. You have the ability to strip buffs, like stripping shield set, stone skin, immunity. So now you can deal with more teams. You also have kind of more ways to win. For example, like Kymar has the reset. You have a second revive. So as your team progresses and you get better champions, like their kits just offer a little bit more. And then you kind of work your way up from there, right? So for example, like for substitutes, like you could use like some budget substitute here. Like here, we'll use that guy, and you can still use Ugo for defense down, or you can use like a Deacon to speed up your team so you can actually get to your Skull Crown faster. But the thing is, with somebody like Basher, he replaces Warlord, who does the cooldown lockout. So he's a budget Warlord, so he locks out for only 2 turns. He locks out the enemy for 2 turns, which is usually enough to let your attacker go. So if you lock him out here, you don't need like a super fast nuker. You just just remove or defense down. So use any kind of defense down champion that you have, and then nuke them, and then hopefully you have another turn to come back to. But I mean, these are just another example, right? So basically, like Arbor is going to be like on your attacking team, like almost all the time, just because she's just really good. She's used all the time. You can use if you have. It depends on your champions, right? Like if you have if you have slower, if you want to play like a go second team, like I don't want to use the void legendaries, but like if you have a go second team, let's say you had something like Pythion's like free to play, like Fusion, and then you have this guy. So you know, like this kind of works too. You just have like a tanky team with revivers. Rotos is hard to kill because he takes 2 hits, and then you know you have some AOE control, and then you have two, you know, attack up here. It kind of has like similar elements, but you know you need better gear, you need better champions. So usually like an arbiter speed team just makes the most sense, especially for like spending time and stuff, time in game. Um, so I just want to be like, let's see. So Molly's another good example of a champion that is good for CC. So she has like AOE crowd control, so you can use her as the second champion behind Arbiter. So you go Arbiter into Molly. Molly controls them. Problem with Molly is that she can't go through Stone Skin or immunity. So it's really depending on what you have available to you. Lysandra is another one that can go after Arbiter or go in front of Arbiter. So basically, Arbiter boosts and then she boosts as well. So you got 2 boosts, and then you're gonna get to your nuker a lot faster, right? A lot easier. So you could go like Arbiter, Lysandra, and then Basher to lock them out. Basher to lock out their skills, and then you can go nuker, for example. So there's lots of different ways to like build like an offense team or like have substitutes for like you know, really strong champions. So I want to go over maybe some substitutes for like so Necrit. So Necrit's like one of those champions that I think Necrit's probably the best arena champion just because he's like the backbone for so many teams, offense and defense teams. Like right now, anyways. I mean, Warlord's obviously really really good, but I mean, if you don't have him, you can kind of get away with him. But I think Necrit really is stands by himself. I think Necrit really stands by himself, especially now that Pythion is here. You don't need Duchess anymore. Like Duchess is great for the attack up, but you don't need her. But you need this guy. Like there's not really much of a substitute, but I did notice there is one champion that kind of does okay compared to him, and it's this guy, Joffred. Joffred is a cool passive where if your ally suffers like fatal damage, he puts block damage on them. So if your champion suffers fatal damage from full health, he just puts block damage and saves them. So it's kind of like how Necrit like puts ally protection and protects your nuker, for example. So it's kind of like, you know, just gives you some extra protection. Obviously, Necrit is still better, but I mean, this is pretty good. This is a really good passive. It also kind of CCs your enemy as well, so he has some stuns in his kit. Like he has an AOE stun, which is actually pretty good. 100% AOE stun on a 3-turn. That's really good. And then he has some you know, team utility with the buffs, and then the defense down and weaken. Removing the soft like half cleanse on his other move, and then he has provoke on his A1. So he has some CC in his kit. He has some utility on his kit, and then he has this passive, which is really cool. So I mean, as a Necro replacement in a go second, he's not too bad. Not too bad. He's kind of budget. I mean, he's still legendary, but he was a guarantee at one point. So if you guys have him, might be worth building. I think that's a little shout out. Another champion that kind of works is Brogni. Brogni brings a lot of defensive capabilities. Obviously, his shield is good at reflecting damage against nukers, so you build him with a big shield set, and then he doesn't need to take a turn, and then your enemy nukers can nuke themselves. So again, another legendary, but if you guys have him and you guys don't really use him, I think you guys obviously probably are using him. He can do double duty in arena as well in a go second, for example. If you have bolster gear or or a shield set, he's actually really good. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see here. Then you have Arbiter. Yeah, Arbiter. For Duchess, we have Pythion now, so we don't really need, like, Duchess is, yeah, Pythion now. Let's see. We have more cleansers now, so Elva. Yeah, so if you guys need a cleanser, if you guys need a cleanser, there's a couple budget ones that are pretty good. For example, Scathix. Sorry, not this guy. Scathix. He's actually a decent cleanser. He does a full cleanse, block debuff on a 4 turn, not a 3 turn, but a 4 turn. But you probably only have to use it once, and it comes with a shield too. It's actually really good. Actually, really good for an epic. So definitely really good. The other one would be another popular one is Sky Touch Shaman. Yeah, Sky Touch Shaman. She has a 3 turn. Oh, it's a 4 turn. Sorry, it's a 4 turn revive on death and then a block debuff with a cleanse. Really good. This is Cardio's move. Cardio is obviously better on a 3 turn and it's unremovable. Revive on death, but she's an epic and yeah, she's really good. So these are like some more budget options where you guys can look for cleansers. Obviously, Pytheon is a cleanser, and he was a recent fusion, so hopefully you guys got him. But and these champions counter like Hegemons and Torments, and I know Hegemon and Torment will give mid game accounts tons of problems, just because of the cleansing and or requiring immunity gear or stone skin gear to deal with them. Let's see. So yeah, I want to look for legendaries. I want to give you guys some options in the epics. Stag Knight's obviously good for defense down. Nobody here. We got Deacon. Deacon's very good. Godseeker can be useful in like a go second. In some weird go seconds, she can be useful because she can revive the lead person, so you can always do those kind of strategies. Cardinal, same thing. She can be in Stone Skin and full revive your team, and then with full turn meter, can be interesting go second options for some teams, especially if you're using them for attacking. You can set up your teams properly to counter certain teams if you have a Cardinal team. Obviously, she gets countered very easily if you have the right champions. Not too many options there. Skinwalkers. Basher, I mentioned, is basically a warlord substitute-ish type champion. So Sandlash Survivor is actually really good as a go second team. So you basically put her in the anchor spot, and then she has the passive that activates ally protection on your whole team when somebody goes below 50% health. So she basically just clutches up and saves your whole team from getting one shot. And then she takes up the damage, but then she has block damage. So I used her for a long time on my other account, which didn't have a lot of champions, and I still use her today. Just because she offers like a slightly different element that needs to be dealt with, and the ally protection is just massive damage reduction, so definitely worth looking at if your roster is a little bit thin. Demon Spawn, just a quick epic look here. Umbral has the AoE provoke. Umbral, yeah, AoE provoke, so you can use her to crowd control after your booster, for example, Arbiter into crowd control, for example. So she's like a good budget option. She's void, so she won't weak hit either. Dark Elves, I talked about Rian. Rian's super good for a strip. Madame Ceres, obviously the best stripper, but like I said, be careful with the sheep debuff, because then she has 2 chances to get sheeped, because she places 2 debuffs. So really scary stuff. Sinacia is a decent nuker. Skullcrown, I mentioned, one of the best epic nukers in the game. Rector Draft is actually a decent go second champion. Lots of healing, revives. And then the Veil to protect your team. Lots of healing. Pretty tanky stats as well. So definitely worth considered building. Dwarves. Gala actually hits very hard for she actually just hits very hard for a single target nuker. Has a chance to double hit. And then since there's so many shields going around with the bolster set and shield set and now bolster set, then Gala is going to see a lot more action, a lot more play. Shadowkin is honestly not super great. I mean, Taragi's okay for CC and ally protection, but she's not that good. Kyoku has similar passive to Seeker. So Seeker, I skipped Undead, sorry. So Seeker has the passive where it's like if he gets hit by a crit, then he gets defense up on the whole team. If you put Seeker in the front of your team, then your whole team gets defense up when he gets hit. If you put Seeker in the back of your whole team gets hit first, and then he gets hit, and then he plays his defense up after your whole team gets hit. So you want Seeker near the front of your team to activate this passive properly. So I was talking about Kyoku. Kyoku has something similar to this passive, except it's like a modified version where it also includes a heal. So you have to pick between putting her in the front or putting her in the back. It's a little bit of a weird synergy. I don't think it's that much better than Seeker, but she has like a slightly better defensive kit. So she's an option, but she's a legendary. So I talked about Gore Grab. Budget arbiter basically, and Vogoth actually is a really good go second champion. If you guys need like a tank, you put him at the end of your team and he'll make sure that your team survives. So he's similar to like Sandlash, where once your team gets hit you get benefits, and the benefit is he heals up your team. So he's actually really good. So if you guys have him, definitely consider building him for like go second defensive teams where you're gonna get hit first. So he's really strong. And yeah, nothing here yet. And Shadow's Kin, we just talked about. Yeah, so I hope you guys like enjoyed that a little bit. I'm just going through like a bunch of like quick fire options for you guys when you guys are building your like arena defenses and your arena offenses, just giving you guys some options. Maybe something you guys haven't heard about before. Maybe you guys give you guys some ideas. Yes, like the meta champions are huge, like Necrit, Warlord, but like, you know, there are some substitutes as long as you're not like trying to like do platinum all the time, right? If you're like trying to go high in platinum, you're gonna need some of these champions, and they have to be pretty well geared to have a chance, right? So like, yeah. But you can definitely still do well in Gold 5 and Tag Team if you know, you can just apply some of these different strategies to your teams, whether it's offense or defense. But yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. That's it for me. If you guys like the content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm doing my best to pump out lots of content for you guys. And yeah. It helps out the channel, so you guys leave any comments below. I definitely like reading them, and I respond to basically all of them. So yeah. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.